that's better.
Hi, Mom.
Oh, you missed the best 5
right.
minutes of the show right there.
Yes, Mom, they are. My values are the exact same.
I don't think mine are. Because I feel like you can sit in a room somewhere and learn a bunch of information, but there's only so much stuff that someone could say during, you know, one of those breakout sessions or something when you're at like a lunch and learn or you're at.
Of course, our good friends at Steph's Bookkeeping, great ribbon
Getting distracted and just tell your story.
And we sent them flying. Fuck, are we live?
And we're live. Welcome in to In the Know with Steph and Joe. 216.
Oh.
Hey, you know what? Here's the cool thing. You're the only Joe on air Fridays now.
Am I?
Oh, that's true.
Damn.
Yeah.
I've outlasted them all.
That's
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
I don't think you know what Kent's referencing.
No.
I mean,
Our neighbors across the town here.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand the reference to, you know,
Mr. Cicero.
Good
career, yeah.
Let me do the math. It would
15.
It would be 105.5 divided by, I don't know, 2, which gives you something.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So
52 and a half.
So I
So
feel
that
like
that was the point I was making.
I'm going to start off with what did you learn? Because I feel like
Yep, we might as well.
Why?
because I feel like in the green room when we were
What I learned is Steph doesn't know the roads to get here.
yes I do. So when we were chit chatting in the green room, I discovered blind spots are the things
All
that
right.
you don't
Welcome to
know.
the show. We're talking blind spots today.
Right. So blind spots are the things that you don't know are there and they haven't been presented to you.
Correct.
You were also coming at it from a different angle of blinders. So I feel like blinders
Relatively speaking,
are the things that you know, but you choose to ignore.
Correct.
So I feel like one is like a
Mm.
surprise and one is known.
Well, what I would say to this is blind spots are things that you can try to see, knowing that you're not going to be able to see them, right? They're blind spots, right? So in my car when I'm driving my truck, right, I can look over and see that there's this little Honda Pilot.
Yeah, because my car is so little.
Behind me.
Compared to his truck. It's not a small vehicle, though.
It is when you're in my truck. So I can look behind me and see that there's a vehicle behind me.
Right.
If I peer over and try to see beyond my blind spots, right? So that to me is where blind spots are what you know, no matter what, you should know that there's always a blind spot.
Yeah. I still feel like though, like sometimes blind spots, even though you know that there's obviously you can't see and know all as it pertains to anything in life, personal business,
Correct.
anything.
Sorry, I just went through puberty.
Yeah. Jeez, Peter Brady. What was that?
Sorry, we were yelling at
It's the grapefruit salt is what it is.
Oh,
it
yeah.
was. It was hard rough.
But so I feel like no matter what you can't see them, even with your head always on a swivel, personally, professionally, there's always something that's in that little dark corner.
I love that.
But I feel
So
like when you're talking
why-
about blinders, you know, and you're knowingly closing the shades to make the dark.
Mhm.
So
That's what I feel like we discovered in the green room today.
So, okay, dive into that a bit more. Blinders, blind spot, right? To
Mhm.
me, I look at it as the same thing. I know I'm this is something I can't see.
Yeah, but when you have a blinder, you're knowingly avoiding said thing. When you have a blind spot, you don't know what you can't see. Like if you have a blinder on,
Mhm.
you knowingly close the shades in that area. Yes,
But
Kim.
should you have
Hi,
both?
Mom.
Like, hi, Mom. I love you.
All right. So here's
That
the
was
thing.
such a turn off.
So,
I really
Yeah.
do love you, Mom.
I love you. Blind spot to me is you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And a
Okay.
blinder is, oh, I know it. I'm choosing not to look at it. Look,
Well, I just
hey,
did, I just
it's
did
like if you're a dude in the YMCA locker room, you're putting your blinders on. You know what's there. You just don't want to see it.
So hang on. That to my point
Right?
is exactly what I'm talking about, is the fact that like we can look at everything we call blinders or blind spots, but if it's a blind spot, you really do still know that it's there.
I don't think
I don't
so.
think you don't know specific, like, yes, there is a blind spot, but you don't know specifically what is hiding in that blind spot. Like a blinder, like for example,
I don't need to think I know. I think I know. I
But,
have
like-
an imagination.
like for example, like
I
okay,
can imagine all
a
the
month or
big
so ago,
BBCs.
what are we
that
in?
could
Like
be in that.
like 2 months
Yeah, this
ago.
is December.
Yeah, so 2 months ago, my building was burglarized. Okay.
Oh.
This is okay.
Indeed.
So
Indeed.
I
dig into that.
when we first bought the building, I'm like, oh, we'll get like a security system and blah, blah, blah. I didn't do it because I really
Is that
didn't
a
feel
blind
like,
spot or a blinder.
well, I didn't feel like I was in any level of danger or immediate
or your
need
staff,
for a security
Mhm.
system. But then after that happened and said person that burglarized our office, even though they didn't necessarily physically take items out of our office,
And not proven guilty yet.
whatever, fuck you. He's guilty. So it just opened up a whole thing. Like, for example, we believe through the process of elimination and whatever, we believe that this person entered the building from our basement door.
Correct.
We don't go down
Not
there.
me. Not me. Yeah.
We don't go down there ever.
I
Like,
haven't either.
It's very rare that anybody goes in the basement for anything in particular. So because we weren't checking that door after we had service people in the building, which we didn't think much of, then now this situation happened and this person got in. So it created a blind spot. It just put a light
No,
on the
it
blind
put a
spot.
Light on the
Right.
blind
So now
spot.
we saw what was in that blind spot.
However, okay.
We saw what was behind curtain number 1, which was this fucking asshole. It's
Some
what-
dude. Squatters. Squatters
So
right.
my wife and I consider his name is Bucket
Buckets.
because he broke into our apartment when we were living in the city.
Different guy.
Correct.
Allegedly.
Completely different.
Allegedly.
Correct.
Allegedly.
Don't know.
But I'm just saying, it put just things like not just the security of our building, but just the way we handled some of the papers that were in the building. Like I write and scratch notes throughout the day,
Yeah.
and I don't necessarily shred my piece of paper. There's not
Mhm.
anything that would really
Mhm.
be of value on those pieces
Yeah.
of paper, but they still should be shredded at the end of the day. But
Because
we've
you
never
officially have a rooster.
but we've never had anybody look at anything that wasn't an employee.
That
Yeah.
you know.
You know what I mean? Well, I mean, now whatever, we know that he did. So it just created and changed some internal processes. Like it was a big learning experience, and it really illuminated a blind spot or an area that we were maybe a little laxed in as a company.
Yes.
No, you have something.
No, I'd like
So-
the audience to
yeah,
go first
so-
because I have so many
so-
many
So
many
I
statements
like
about
what you're saying, and I think to connect to what Joe's saying is, when you're in your car and you start to turn left, and all of a sudden you hear a horn, you're like, oh shit, I didn't see him there, right in my blind spot.
Right.
Kind of have an idea you're in traffic, maybe somebody might be there, but you didn't see him. So, but now you're aware. So with
Right.
you, that was your blind spot, but now you're aware.
Does that mean you start to turn around and look in the back spot and the blind spot instead of just relying on the mirrors?
I literally go
and
in
your
the
turn
basement.
indicator and your car
Yeah, but
mechanisms?
We have security cameras now up in the building. We have
All up in that bitch?
yeah. There's like 3 cameras.
I can't break it.
There's sensors
You can.
on all of the windows.
Oh, I
There's
know.
sensors on all the doors. There's a whole like fob
Yeah.
system now to get in.
Yeah,
Like
that's
there's a
awesome.
whole thing. And I
Okay.
even though like we probably don't need to, I literally go in the basement now once a week and check that door, even though it's impossible to pick the lock because it
Right.
has like a sliding deadbolt thing
Yeah.
on it.
So
It's
But
like old
now
school.
we just do things differently and we
So
navigate
you're looking over your
Did-
shoulder,
did-
make sure nothing's in the
did
blind
this-
spot.
did
Right.
this incident.
like the person
make
was
you
living in our
change
building
your-
for 3 days.
Well, I understand.
Literally.
Like
I understand. Sorry.
Literally.
I'm still going to the list like prepubescent thing because of my.
Derek wants to know
So-
where your hat is.
Joe didn't bring me one.
Very
Want
selfish.
it?
Very selfish.
No, I'll put my normal attire on. So when you purchased the building,
Yeah.
the unit,
Mhm.
quote unquote, did somebody tell you, hey, you should do this? You should do this part. This is the things you should do. Was the things you're doing now suggested to you before? I.e.,
No, but I've
was
never
the
been
fact
like
that you
burglarized
experienced-
Right.
before.
That's what I'm getting at. Was the fact that you experienced this the change in your mindset?
Yeah.
So these things were suggested to you before?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Who told me I need a camera?
You people tell you, yo, it's in your insurance.
No, it's not. It's not. I'm gonna pull up my policy.
What?
Well, fine. Aegis Security Solutions told me that I should get a camera system, especially with having staff unsupervised and stuff in the
I was
building.
like, hey, look
Yeah.
over here. Look over here.
Yes.
Yo,
Well,
listen, I know I'm
we
loud.
made a
From-
suggestion.
from behind the scenes. I know I'm loud.
Right. But listen.
Fucking
it-
told you so.
But,
But-
it's not like Kenzo
Hang on.
No,
made this suggestion because he's like, oh shit, we live in the mean streets of
Right.
McHenry.
What it
You're
was-
correct.
For that,
However,
like, you know,
No, so in driver's ed, they're like, all right, well, you always check your blind spots, right? So
right.
that was like me being the driver's ed guy going, hey,
Thank
check your
you.
blind spot.
so somebody warned you.
I guess. I mean, I didn't think Kent was like, hey, some squatter's going to be living in your building for 3
Listen,
days.
listen, that
But,
mother-
you know,
Risk
And,
versus
and the dude who was
reward.
down there better not bring
This
my
is
name
risk
up.
versus reward.
well, he had court today, so we'll see if you get
I know.
subpoenaed.
Then please come in.
Listen, Carrie and I lived in the city, and risk versus reward, we were told you could people.
Do you
are
have a security? Do you have cameras and stuff all over your building and house and all that? No, most people don't. I mean, I don't know if
Yes.
you do, but like
Let's talk.
in your house? Oh, that's so weird.
I hope it's
No,
not,
no, no.
I hope it's not
Hang
Wi-Fi.
on.
You have
Hang on.
6 dogs. Why the fuck would you need a
Yeah.
camera in your house?
Not
Hang on.
Not
Village
the
of
primary
Cary, I don't have
suite.
6 dogs.
not the
I
primary
only allow
suite.
3 in the village.
Fine, it's
I
3
don't
dogs.
have 6 dogs. I have 3 dogs. Village of Cary.
And the only camera is on a tripod in the primary bedroom. Wait a minute.
All cameras.
That's it.
Everybody's being recorded. Only when you listen. We're not talking about that. Anyway, no.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I
No,
don't think I
business-
necessarily.
the business has cameras. They're Ring cameras. So I'll call it out what it is. Like we literally are being recorded by a third party company. So I really don't have to worry about liability on. I'm not putting it in a bathroom. I know what I'm not supposed to do.
Yeah, we don't have a camera in the bathroom.
Yeah, that's disgusting, right?
it's in
We're
the
not
hallways.
doing that,
They
right?
do have
so,
toilet
so
cams.
like, to my point is,
Sensors.
Motion sense. Linda says she's got them so that they can watch the dog sitter.
It's like
we
a
have a
nanny
dog
cam.
sitter. So our camera on our personal home runs out the front gate. right? The front door, really the front garage door over the garage, right? So like we can see anybody that pulls up to our house because we live in a cul-de-sac at the back of it. We're at the bottom of the sack. If
You are at the bottom of the side.
yeah, mine's gone, but
Congrats.
Mhm.
Please have your host spayed or neutered to control the pet population.
thank you.
But I'm just saying, so like this situation and circumstance that happened though caused me to really look at the blind spot, which then
that.
caused us to shift internal process to prevent this issue from happening again. But also, if something was to happen again, we would be better protected.
So everybody, to your point, you made the point earlier. Oh, I didn't think I was going to get hit by that. I'm in McHenry. I'm good.
Well, yeah, we're
true.
Yeah, well,
not in the
to
you
your
know.
point, I'm in McHenry.
But I guess
good.
I'm
in
just-
Cary. I'm fine.
But I guess I'm just so used to having like big
I hate-
dogs around that I just have never, thought about it.
Yeah, I know. Rich is a dog.
you know,
WG. He's a
you know,
dog.
like
But
we
okay,
have just
so to my
big
point-
dogs in my house.
to my
so-
point is you could live wherever you want to live.
right?
You could live in the middle of the cornfields.
yeah,
Somebody could still walk up and try and swipe in your shit.
but it was
right?
also like a see something, say something thing.
Mhm.
Because after what happened, I let the association know. So they let everybody in the complex know, all of the other small business owners, so they could be aware and be vigilant and whatever that this person was doing that.
Fact.
And then 5 other people submitted security camera footage of this individual jiggling door handles at 2:00 in the morning. So they knew that there was someone shady in the complex, and they
And
didn't
they
say
didn't-
anything.
They didn't help. They didn't say, "Hey, check your blind
Right?
So
They didn't give a heads
so
up
is
to
that-
anybody.
hang on. We're calling that a blind spot.
Well, I'm just saying,
it?
like,
Because to me, that's a fucking clear view. I have lights and mirrors on that. I know something's going on right here.
I'm just saying, if
Where
you're about to
many
hit
people
around
call-
Dead Man's Curve, and I've been down that road, and I know what's at the end of it, and I don't tell you, you're a fucking asshole, or I'm a fucking asshole.
Thank you. Thank
know,
you.
like-
Thank
Right.
you. That's to my point is God, I'm like such a teenager right now. But to my point is if you're going to say, oh, I knew about this, but then I ignored it, that's not a blind spot.
Right. Well, I
Yeah.
didn't know about it until after everything happened, and I was, I guess, the first to
Hang
bring
on.
it to the
you
table.
knew about it because somebody told you
Somebody's trying
get
to make
some
a sale.
goddamn security cam.
Well, so we'll say this: her other office, same town,
right,
not an issue
Uh-huh.
ever,
right.
not an issue ever, right? So
different perspective, so many variables. You could talk
but I was
so
like
many
a
things
but-
that
renter,
made a
though.
difference.
I was a
It doesn't
renter in the
matter.
building.
You could
No,
talk
hold
so
on.
many
hold
differences.
on,
Yep.
hold on. We're talking about blind spot, so I want to stay just with the blind spot. So where she was in the same zip code was like, yeah, I've been here for 3 years. There's nothing going on. Okay, so somebody said, hey, check your blind spot, but I'm like, I'm okay. I live across town. I'm here. I'm okay, right? So
Okay.
it's not, and at that point, there's nothing in her blind spot, right? That's why it's called a blind spot. You don't know. It's like the driver's ed teacher saying, hey, before you turn, check your blind spots. Well, when you get comfortable driving, you put on your blinker, check your mirror, and you go. You don't check
Nope.
all of your blind
Nope.
spots.
You
I
turn
always-
your head every time?
Fuck yes.
I don't.
Never.
Same with my values within
Never.
our intro.
Never. Right? I mean,
Wait,
not
really?
not until I hear somebody.
No, ABCs.
When
Stick
somebody-
to the fucking basics. You have to do the basics. You're a coach.
I don't coach driving, but
yeah, but like I have a little light on my mirror that tells me.
now you do, right?
Yeah. So it's like, eh,
Really?
yeah, it's like
You
it will
rely on
illuminate.
the mirror?
Sometimes.
That's why I beat you.
No, I saw you. I was going to cut you off, but then I was like, you're
That's-
going to ram
look,
me.
I think-
you know?
I would.
I'm like, I'm
I
good.
would.
So if I'm in Brownie, if I'm
No.
in Brownie, I'll check over my shoulders because I know right
Brown, say that
my
again?
truck. Brownie, my truck.
Got it.
If I'm in,
like Schmody.
yeah, if I'm in the Telluride, right? Then
I can tell you, right?
That's right. Then I just check the mirrors. 'Cause I got the little lights and flashing things on there. It says,
Interesting.
and the car will go.
Nope.
Don't go that way.
I turn all that crap off.
Really? Yeah, no, if I'm in
No, I turn it all off.
if I'm in
I don't
Gavin's car, I'll look because Gavin doesn't have the sensors. My car, I sometimes look, sometimes don't.
Give me the no sensors and everything turned on.
Rich's car, I don't even know if he even looks because his car just drives itself.
Rich drove me home
literally
one night.
Are you sure Rich drove you or the car drove you home?
Well,
Rich's car is like, hey, dumbass, check your blind spot. Oh, sorry.
No, Rich's car goes, hey, we're not going to turn yet because there's somebody in your blind spot.
Right.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, thanks. I appreciate that.
But like it's just
no.
I
don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
I feel like
want.
Okay, so even if I say that the situation with me not having security systems in place in the building that I purchased, and we can call that a blinder, but it definitely put a light on other blind spots that I didn't really realize that I had in the business.
Fair point.
Which then caused me to make corrective action.
Okay.
So like, even if I say that I was lazy and I should have put the security system in back in January when we purchased the building, when we were renovating and whatever. But like Kent said too, like I've been living in this zip code for 15 years. I rented a space in a commercial building. I was in the middle of a commercial complex that we bought this unit in. Like, I just didn't think it was priority one.
Correct.
Not saying that it was never going to happen. It just wasn't priority one when we had so much other stuff we had to do.
So define a blind spot to me would mean something that is you had no clue of.
Right. But I just think it's like crazy now.
But like
you can't tell me like it's not crazy though. Like we have cameras, we have sensors, we have locks on the doors, and then each individual office is locked now at night. Like all of these different things, like just like it just seems excessive.
Do you think
to me
half of that would have solved your problem?
Well, all of it would have solved the problem.
Well, thank you.
Because like I would have been alerted. I would have been alerted day 1 versus day 3.
Oh, much like the cars. A blind spot isn't really a blind spot. It's simply like we've all been given the indicators to say, hey, something's there in your blind spot. So it's not technically anymore. To me, there really shouldn't be any blind spots. We have AI. We should figure all our shit out pretty quick.
Yeah. I mean, I guess. What's a blind spot that you and Carrie figured out? Bless you. That you guys figured out that you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What's a blind spot that you guys had that you kind of felt left fielded by when it happened? And you're like, oh shit, like that's crazy. But you might have kind of known, but kind of didn't.
To be honest, it's like how loans are structured and the way that small businesses work. Banks. There was something just today where we just were working things, and I however it happened, we're like, oh crap, we got to do this, and it's just the small things that we don't look at the the fine details of how banks work or whatever, right? An SBA loan. Getting a line of credit, right? A lock. God, those kind of small things may seem small to some people, but like when it turns into a big ordeal because you didn't see that you have to have multiple people sign it or whatever it may be, that to me is where like, all right, to your point, I'm going to agree with you. It's the details that you just don't like. You look at it and somebody says, hey, you need to do this. Right. But then you go, I'm good.
Right. I mean, like, especially diving deep into like the loan process and like having, like, Kent can speak to this too, like
Oh.
everything that you have to have in order to get the loan, like your profit and loss, your balance sheet, your asset sheet, your business plan, your depending on what type of loan you're going for. Like there's so many things that they're going to ask for. And when you're not a business owner and you're just an individual going to get a car, at most you bring
Totally
3
different.
paycheck stubs and you get the car and you go home.
Yep.
You know, but like as a business
3
owner,
proofs of credit and
right.
literally it.
But like as a business owner, they ask you for like everything.
Your underwear color.
And most
your
people,
mother's maiden name.
Right.
I'm
And
like,
most people
no.
wouldn't know to have that. And then some people are like, oh my God, this is a mess. And you need money fast. And now you got to fix like this internal process to make sure that you can look presentable.
So right now, every company, every corporate, every business in the state of Illinois has to do their FinCEN with the state. And there are a lot of small businesses, I'll guarantee you that's in the blind
spot. Can you describe that acronym?
I don't know. I can't. No.
What are you talking about, that bio thing?
Yeah. So you have to submit.
What's the goddamn acronym stand for?
Financial information.
Basically like you have to present for your ownership and whatever, and present documents and your IDs and whatever for money laundering.
Does that mean like you're literally doing one of these?
Like you and Carrie have to do it too by January. Yeah.
You have to dick flap your whole shit.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
so it's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
FinCEN.
Yep.
So
there you go.
Now there's pretty stiff penalties as well. Okay.
I love a good
stiff penalty. But there are a lot of small businesses that don't know that this has to be done by the end of this month.
Yeah, because nobody got any letters.
There weren't any letters that were sent out. Well, it probably was given to you by your accountant or something like that.
Whoever did your taxes. If you have a righteous accountant.
Right.
The state and the Fed didn't send out any notices.
Right. They did not.
To small business owners.
They did not.
Or to their registered agent.
That is correct.
So their registered agent could be their accountant that's on, and nobody got any letters.
That is correct.
Interesting.
So where you have to do that. If you have a bank account, you've gone through the FinCEN stuff. It's the exact same stuff.
Okay. So as a small business owner, that this information that you're just delivering to me, the two of you, is completely in my blind spot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Have no clue of it.
Yep.
No clue. This is brand new to me. So now, what I'm going to say to you is I think that the humans that we work with are intelligent enough and are on their game enough that I think we would be aware of this. Now, I'm rolling the dice on that. I have no clue. It's in my blind spot. Right? That being said, am I putting blinders on and saying, these people are in that realm. I'm going to let them deal with it. And it's their...
Yeah, that you'll be putting, if you don't bring it up in a conversation and say, "Hey, is this covered?"
Is that's I'm putting blinders on.
Because now I honked at you.
Right.
So you know
now that little I see your headlights.
Yep.
Flashing in my blind spot.
It's cold out.
Well, mine are swollen.
So do you think that there's blind spots that business owners can have that they can't recover from?
Yes.
Name
100%.
Name like your top 2 that you think could possibly cause them to not recover from.
Trip falls. Okay. Sales. Sales can easily tank you. Everybody wants to commit to certain things. And blinders are that this thing is making me money, but it really isn't. And so you commit you're blindly going in, but yet you are not making your ROI, if you want to put an acronym to it, or KPI, your ROI is not coming out. So sales is one of them, first and foremost. That to me is above all. Sales.
But that's not a blind spot, if you know of. I mean,
well, but
he's talking about the reference for like if you are selling a widget for $100, but it costs you $125 to put that widget to market.
So friends and family.
So
discount.
right. So he's like,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if
you could sell a million widgets.
Right. So you're saying your sales team, if your sales team is out there giving away the house and they don't know that they're giving away the house and you don't know they're necessarily, then all of a sudden you go, holy shit.
Right.
We've lost money on every deal. I get it. I see what you're saying.
We've sold $1 million, but it costs us $1 million and so 100,000 to make that $1 million.
Yeah,
well,
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
That means nothing to me.
You felt good because I said, "Hey, I got a sale." You're like, "Attaboy, go get another one." Hey, you got another sale. Yeah,
hey,
I got you.
Sales. We got sales.
Right.
Great. Fucking sales.
Yeah.
Womp,
womp, womp. Yeah.
We gotta. Ooh, that was
a high one.
So sales would be
that makes sense why your voice is cracking.
I was out late last night for Gnome for the holidays. Carrie Chamber of Commerce, shout out. But after that, the next major trip up would be and these two are they're very general, right? But you have to be able to dial into them. So after sales comes production. And so if I say sales, I need you to bring in good sales. I need production to be able to produce good production, i.e., much like like you track it and you probably do it best of all because you have a software that like actually dials into this. But to say you're going to do logged, what do you call them? Production hours, right? And so you're going to do production hours. It's harder for us in the sense of how you track it for us because we have employees that are on the road driving to a job, right? They don't just show up to work and then they sit down at their desk and click into a job.
Yeah, at Rich's
out of a job.
Well, at Rich's work, they have drive time as a client, and when they're driving, they can click drive time client.
But that
and then they know that as
and
well.
we can.
Well, they also know it from the GPS reports.
We can also do that. Okay, so to that point, great point. That's great point. That's narrowing your blind spot. Right? Your blind spot, if you don't know your drive time and all that jazz, right? As Rich, he's going to be like, my blind spot is fucking huge. But if I can say I can narrow down and start to charge drive time, well, I'm narrowing down that blind spot.
It's not that he's necessarily charging drive time. He just like his guys, if they clock out a job, then they have to clock into driving, but they also have a GPS in the truck as a backup,
tracking everything
that will configure that as well.
He is honing in on his blind spot in the sense of if somebody was not tracking all that, they would have no idea, which means their blind spot is going to be gigantic.
Ginormous.
Right. But then as they start to track all those hours and see where people are driving versus not driving, we're allowed to try to charge our clients drive time to their place, not from, right? This is such a big thing that we are working to narrow our blind spot, right? And so that to me is where Rich is doing, where he's tracking everybody. I know exactly what you're doing on your drive time. I know how long you're on drive time. I know what you're doing for this. Well, you're narrowing your blind spot. You're not eliminating it. Nobody can eliminate it. So you're saying there's a chance, right? Like that to me is the statement. There's always a chance of something fucking up.
Right.
That's your blind spot, right?
Yeah.
That to me is it. There's always a chance. So as long as you can continue to narrow it, you're going to be better off.
Yeah, and you can narrow that with people. You can narrow that with AI. You can narrow that with systems. Yeah,
SOPs, procedures,
Yep.
right? Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Apps. There's an app for
App,
that.
yep.
There's Mr. Japiti. I love him.
I've never heard of that.
ChatGPT.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. Mr. Japiti.
Oh, he and I do a lot of work together. That guy, I did.
We have doing a lot of
That's
times.
right. That's right. Yeah. What do you do with employees who didn't know that, right? So they don't know what they don't know. So they have this huge blind spot, and you go, "Hey, here's this huge blind spot," and they go, "Oh, I didn't know." And then you go, "Okay, well now you do."
God, that's my fucking kids right now.
And then they go like this, "Not my issue."
Oh, that's my kids right now.
What do you do? As a small business owner, it could still wreck you, right? But perhaps that person, that employee is a key employee,
SOPs.
right?
SOPs.
So if it's a key employee and I say like something that you're doing is causing
Or not doing because they didn't know, but now they do.
Is causing this issue.
Yep.
And so now I brought the blind spot to their attention.
Yep.
And then they give me a shoulder shrug.
Or they don't even tell you that.
First time, that's what I'm asking.
Or or they don't tell you that, and they just continue to ignore it.
On them?
Right? They don't have to give you a shoulder. Go, "Oh my God, I didn't know that." Okay, and then they just continue to not do it.
Oh, that's my child.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not that they're like it isn't, but their whole attitude. You're like, "I thought we talked about this." Oh, I didn't know.
If I give if I sit down with somebody and we have a conversation and I give them corrective action and bring stuff to their attention, and then they just, in my opinion, tell me to go fuck myself because they continue to still do what they want to do, then I'll cut them loose. Like,
I wish I could do that to my children.
Like, I'll cut them loose just because, even if they are a performer, because I feel like that is
Amen.
a toxic,
I love that.
It's a toxic cancer that's going to spread to the next employee, the next employee.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to get basically more or less silently told to fuck off by all of my employees.
Yep.
And then the inmates run the asylum. And then I don't know what I have left then.
I love that analogy because I just saw an old employee who I fired. And I was ringing a bell for Salvation Army. And she came out of the store and was like, "You fucked me." I'm like, "Hi."
That would be.
She just walked away. I'm like, "Did I do that?" No, that attitude right there is what did it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So to your point,
it's not like if you have like a blind spot and then like there's a car that's in your blind spot, you're just going to keep dinging it into them until they finally like move out your way.
That's it.
It's like the same thing.
I did what I was supposed to do. I proceeded. You want to be civil, I'll be civil. Humans. So my blind spot might be maybe just, I don't know. I know I have some blind spots. Ooh, that's a good thing. I just learned something. All right. I'm waiting for the end of the show to tell.
Just stop talking like halfway through your sentence.
You keep talking because I just learned what I learned right here, right now.
The aha moment.
I'm done.
And folks, if you felt it, that's the aha moment of the show.
Do you have a light bulb that can go off over my head? No,
that's it. No, I don't. Well, you just lean back, and that one is.
As in the early stages of your business, was there a blind spot that outside of the loan process that you were just like, holy shit, like that's crazy going from being an employee to a business owner and like seeing like the difference in what the workload and what the expectation is as an owner versus an employee.
No.
So you weren't shocked by anything.
Not that. No, my biggest shock when I went from employee to owner, because I had done things that were management style, so where I was like pseudo owner, right? Where I had done enough where I acted as kind of the owner of the location. But when I went from employee to owner of a business, the biggest thing was actually stepping out of the work. It was hiring people to do the work and stepping out of the work. That was my biggest blind spot.
So was there anything that happened when you stepped out that you were like, oh God, I didn't warn them about this, or we didn't think about this?
A million things that I went, because, okay, I'm a little OCD. So there's a few things that I definitely am like, I would see somebody, for everybody's reference, we would pound tack strip out, right? Tack strip is the little spiky strip that holds your carpet and pad, right? Or carpet into your floor. And so that tack strip, we had to pound out if we removed carpet. You just remove the tack strip. And so I actually got a really good rhythm on how to do it for being such a small dude, right? Small humans, we recognize each other's small abilities. And so I got a good rhythm. And so these people, these humans would come in and work for me, and I'd see them pounding tack strip in like the worst way. And I'm like, But my blind spot was to say, I can go in there and solve it. And I actually said, no, stop. Let them figure it fucking out themselves, because that's more learning for them. And the faster I pulled out of trying to tell somebody, like, I'd be like, yeah, you can do it. You know, just, hey, hold it this way and click. And then I'd walk away. And that was it. Like, instead of micromanaging the actual, well, you need to swing at this angle, at a 45-degree angle into the pry bar, when the pry bar needs to be at 15-degree angle into the nail. And then you give it a slight little, and it pops the nail right out of that concrete. Like, you wouldn't believe, right? I know how to do it the best way. But if I were to tell them all that, it wouldn't let them learn and figure it out themselves. So my blind spot in the beginning, when we first started the company, was literally micromanaging people and trying to tell them how to pound a tack strip. But the quicker I step back and go, do it yourself, good luck.
Is there, so
right here's what I suggest: hold it here, slam here, walk away.
Find out what works for you.
Good fucking luck.
Yeah.
Wear some PPE.
Yeah. Please.
That was my blind spot in the beginning. When we first started the company, it wasn't this logistics, legality, anything like that. It literally was letting somebody else goddamn figure out how to swing the hammer themselves.
So outside of the business, so like personally, what do you think
My
was
children.
No.
Oh, sorry.
Was that out loud? Are we on
No.
here?
Is that out loud?
The biggest
This
what was a blind spot that you had transitioning into adulting, and kids don't count? Because there's too many unknown variables. I mean, like for us, like a big blind like was pet ownership. Like I didn't realize having like a family pet with like your parents there, vastly different than getting a puppy by yourself and dealing with all of the puppy shit.
Puppy shit. Like, you literally now need to train this dog.
Yeah, like that was like
dogs for me are
it was like
piece
an
of cake.
eye-opening experience,
No.
because like when we got Sally and our husky, and she individually unpicked my carpet out in a rectangle from wall to wall in my living room. And this is like a brand new house that I just had built, and like I was not
Ready for
your
that?
nose, really?
yes, I was not prepared for that. Like Like,
fucking sick.
That's
like-
awesome.
like I knew my mom had to deal with some stuff like with the puppies and the dogs as we were like growing up,
My
but
mom
like
told me stories
I didn't
about our
realize
dogs.
that.
Right.
Whoa. My mom
Like-
told me a story how she came home and there was Barney. I think the dog's name was Barney. I was alive. I was no older than 2, right? And my mom came home and she had the whole, like, I think she had the dining room table set up for like fucking Thanksgiving. And here's Barney. She walks home, comes down the front sidewalk, and literally looks in the front window, and there's Barney sitting on the dining room table, just fucking whizzing with his leg up on the candles. So to your point,
Good old Barney. Barney wasn't even a dog. He was
Barney
a
didn't
midget.
live
That's
much longer
that's,
after- Barney went to the farm.
that's right. Barney went out to the farm.
But I'm just saying, like that, like I just
So-
was something like that. Like I like had
wait.
dogs growing up.
Mhm.
I had pets growing up. Like, but
you
doing
don't
it.
remember that shit.
Well, it just
happened.
was never on my
It
radar
happened.
because I wasn't the one getting up at like.
You had
2 in the morning.
blinders on.
Well, it just never crossed my mind. I wasn't the one getting up at 2:00 in the morning with the puppy
Blinders.
to take it out. I
Blinders.
wasn't
Yeah. So I
doing
was
these things.
Hang on. My daughter, my youngest, Lucy, if something happens to any of our dogs, we have 3 dogs. Had 4.
only 3.
Only
Village.
3.
Only 3
Village.
village. That's right.
Babysitting.
But if anything happens to the dogs or myself, like literally, I just had a vasectomy and I went.
No
through
wonder
it.
your voice is cracking.
So I went through that, and my youngest is literally hearing everything and paying attention.
Mhm.
Her blinders, she doesn't have blinders. She's fully astute
Sure.
to what's going on
After
around
she-
her.
Once she
Right?
gets her own apartment and gets her first dog, we're going to circle back around to this conversation because no matter how good it is and how good she is with the dogs at the family house,
She's not
vastly
good with them.
different.
She's not good with them.
I'm just
she
saying.
just pays
True.
fucking attention.
I just think it's different.
That's all I'm
like,
saying. Is she
Right.
pays attention.
like my
But
mom,
so
like
that's-
even like my mom preparing like Thanksgiving. Like my mom always did Thanksgiving, and I'm like, okay. And then she's like, okay, now I'm passing the torch to you. You have your own house. You're gonna host Thanksgiving. Okay, how
Right.
hard could it be? The first year I did it, like I'm not even gonna say how many times I MF'd her throughout the whole process
Do you know
of
how great my first
of like
Thanksgiving
doing this
turkey
and
was?
the turkey and all the things. Like it's a lot. Like I feel like there's always surprises. Like even if you feel like you're prepared personally, professionally, there's always a surprise. There's never not.
That's why I always look in my blind spots, and I dick flopped so hard on this Thanksgiving.
I feel
I
like
deep fried a turkey. It was.
What did you inject it with?
We did a brine. For a day before,
Mhm, mhm.
and then we did a dry rub on it.
Mm,
Yep, no injections.
Okay.
This sucker was.
juicy and delicious.
It was 40 minutes in the deep fryer, and then it was 30 minutes to set and rest. And that set and rest, I will tell you, is what made it right. So I took my blinders down and looked at my blind spots and went, I'm clear to change lanes. I'm fucking.
I'm just saying there's just always
And that's the sound of his vasectomy.
That was the deep frying. That was the deep frying. That was the
sorry.
deep frying. That was deep frying. We actually talked about dead bodies when they did my vasectomy. Anyway.
So I know it's hilarious.
Love you, Mom.
So how do you, with a loved one, and we'll step out of the business world, with a loved
Oh.
one, how do you tell a loved one about their blind spot?
Interesting question. I have
Okay, because so here's where we're at. Brand new.
You want me to tell you how I tell Steph?
Well, we all know how you tell her. We know how she
Yeah,
tells
I
you.
just
Yeah.
pass her. And I beat her
So
here.
like right now, brand new. Like we're not even a week old into the grandparent thing, right? So we're jacked up. That's a pun because his name's Jack. So
Waka waka.
and so Alice loves being a mother. It's her identity. She's the world's best mom, right? She's been with them now since Wednesday, and she's going to spend next week with them too, right?
Mhm.
And there's a really good aura about her, but I'm afraid that she's going to pick the ball up and run.
A little overdone.
You know what I'm saying? So she's like, well, if you want to come down here on Saturday after your game, but I'm like, no, there's a lot of stuff that's happened in the last few days. I'm going to see this kid for the next, 40, 50 years, whatever. Hey.
Mom says congratulations.
Oh, thank you, Linda. Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. It's so weird. It's awesome.
It's so weird.
It is so weird.
I'm a
Because I still have a kid at home.
goddamn grandpa.
You could be a grandmother,
I
right?
could.
And you still have a kid at home.
Really soon you could be.
I mean, I have 2 kids at home, so yeah.
Right. That's what I'm talking about, right? So
Well, all I'm
At least
saying,
one's a
Ashley-
grown.
At least
one's grown.
Ashley
Linda, you
moved
could be a
moved
out.
out.
great
Yeah.
grandma.
So what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, what I may see as her blind spot may be that she picks up the ball and just starts running with it
Mhm.
and does the mom thing, right?
Mhm.
Unintentionally, just because that's in her DNA. When she really has to now be the grandma and be like, let me go wash the clothes or let me do this while you're healing.
Just be a taskmaster.
Yep.
Essentially, I get what you're saying. So, yes, I feel like that is a couples therapy thing that we should not discuss on air.
Well, no, and I'm okay with it. But there's a lot of people that you love that you're like it's in your blind spot, but it's always hard to say something to them because they don't
Is it?
see it.
Is it?
I think so.
I'm pretty blunt. No, sorry. I like blunts. I'm forward.
Yeah. But there are probably
Did you get that?
there are probably times in your relationship with Carrie where you saw a blind spot. I was like, I don't know how to.
Well, it's like one of those
Okay,
things, like
yes,
as a mom.
and vice versa.
Oh,
She
sure.
said it to me
Absolutely.
several times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's like when you like you're a mom, like even like I mean, my mom was in the delivery room for both my boys. Like she
She was right in there.
in there with me.
Yep.
But like
Push him out. Push him out.
like she was my mom was the first person to hold Gavin.
Oh, awesome.
I mean, after they dump him on you.
yeah. After. Yeah.
But
Oh, look at you, baby.
Yeah.
Get out of the room.
but
Hose.
That's right.
Hose.
but so it's just like
Christine. Just clean this up.
it's like sometimes like when you're
Good
dealing with
reference.
something that's like so important, like even like a mom, as a parent or a business owner or anything,
Yeah.
like it's hard for you to let them kind of
Right.
bump into the car next to them
Exactly.
a little bit.
Okay.
But, like-
Without grabbing the wheel, like, oh,
Right.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Like they start to veer and
Yeah.
you're like, whoa.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
To that analogy, are there people that if you were in that situation, you're in the driver's seat, and no matter what it is, your worst situation, you're in the driver's seat, somebody is sitting in shotgun.
Mhm.
Is there somebody that you go, yep, take the wheel?
Jesus.
Good song. Carrie Underwood.
That's right.
Anyway, but to my point is there's certain people that I know that if I'm in a certain situation, I look at it and go, hey, whatever you say, I'm following it. And i.e., my buddy and I drove around an island, and I worked the gas pedals and he worked the steering wheel from the shotgun seat, and we did it in reverse. And you have to like trust somebody at a certain point, right? So to me, that's also like very much military, very much like certain things where you go through training in any team building, right? You have to go through certain training to trust the people that are around you and their decision to help you out.
Right. But you also like
So-
to Kent's point though, like Alice isn't gonna be there forever.
Right.
Like at a point, Ashley and the hubby
And Jake. Yeah.
and Jake all are gonna have to form their own structure,
Routine,
routine,
yeah.
and all
Totally,
of that.
totally
Like,
agree.
if I stayed living with my mom forever, and I mean, I trust her to take the steering wheel and all of that, but like
Jesus, take the
at a point though, like when she's not here anymore, then
poo poo poo.
I
Don't say that.
but she needs to
Love you,
know
Mom.
that she taught me in a
Right.
way where I can still handle
Right.
the upcoming surprises.
Right.
Like you have to, like, it's like, what is it? You
Love
bring a horse to water or something.
Yeah.
You can't make him drink.
Yeah.
Totally.
Like you have, like, or you
I
teach
think
a man
that's
to
a
fish, he'll
You know
eat
that
for life.
horses will only drink fresh water or healthy water, clean water. So wherever a horse drinks, you are okay to drink that water too.
Huh.
It's just a little PSA.
I'm not following that.
Yeah,
you
horses
sure?
will not drink bad water. Like that'll
I'm
get
pretty sure.
get bacteria and stuff and make
We're gonna try this.
Yep.
We're
A
going
horse-
horseback
Yeah,
riding.
a horse,
Joe.
yeah.
No,
If a horse-
I've seen you on four wheelers.
If the
You haven't
horse
seen me, you heard.
if the horse is drinking water,
I
it's good water. to
understand your
drink.
four wheeling
Yeah.
experience.
It's true.
Fuck off! I'm not riding with you.
I learned that on TikTok. It's true.
Listen, all I'm saying
Listen,
is
Linda.
it is listen, not Linda. I didn't say that. That was Kent, Linda,
That's right.
Mom. All I'm saying is if I'm going to, we're talking about blinders, and if I'm going to put blinders on or have blind spots, I'm going to make sure I surround myself with people that are watching my flanks, watching my blind spots. And that would be my point, is if I were to say to somebody, hey, I'm going in and doing this, and I know they can support me, go do it. Right. I'm in. I
That's actually
wholeheartedly.
like a really
Here
good point,
is
Joe.
my weight.
I'm actually impressed.
Right.
What?
That's a really good point.
What?
What you're saying, that like as a business owner or whatever, you have this, you're bringing on your team to take things off your plate to cover this sector and cover this side of you and this and that, and that
But
these
here's
are
the
your
issue.
entrusted people.
He's putting the little light on the side mirror, but he's not trusting it. You've heard him say it already.
No,
So those
fuck
people-
off. I said, goddamn trusting it. I'm always fucking again. Sorry,
Yeah.
my
So-
balls dropped.
That's it.
Oh, we didn't give our shout out. We got to give our shout out. We met Rodney today
Rodney from
at DC Cobbs. He
Yeah.
is
Oh,
a
hey,
project
Rodney.
manager. And
What up?
for
What up, Rod?
but yeah,
We-
they
we
were
forgot
it's a
where
good
he's
time.
from.
Him and his wife, they had to go pick up the kiddos. They were going to maybe tune in.
Oh, they're definitely tuning in.
Yeah.
But
Appreciate that.
They,
Appreciate
yeah,
that.
they definitely didn't comment. Rodney, come on, bro.
But yeah,
Yeah, I like what you're saying. And we really should have put a disclaimer for the visually impaired. For the visually impaired today, this is a metaphor blind spot.
We should always
But,
put a disclaimer.
They
out on
really
this
show.
show.
We really should. The thoughts of this host don't
so now
reflect those.
we're down to the last couple minutes. So what did you learn?
I mean,
Now you have to tell us after you stop the show and like
what did I
mid.
stop the show about?
Well, I've got it. You got what you learned today.
Yeah, and you wanted your little light
Like,
bulb.
oh, here it is. Here it
Did
is.
you forget it?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I mean,
you should have just let it rip.
I should have.
Let it rip,
Shit.
potato chip.
All right, go ahead, talk, and I'll try and pull it
What
out.
you learned today, Ken?
some
I
ass.
gave mine at the beginning.
Yeah, I like where you started off too. Is I like that once we know what's in the blind spot, sometimes we put on the blinders to ignore it. Because maybe the car was moving forward, or the machine was moving well enough, but in the long run, it's gonna catch up with you, and you're eventually gonna smack into something.
I like that. So I don't remember exactly what I was going to say, and have no remembrance of anything. So what I'm going to say is I actually think that, to your point on putting up the blinders,
Mhm.
when we walked into the show, I was immediately thinking blind spot, blinders, because to me, there's no, like, you should never have a blind spot. Even with cars these days.
Yeah.
You can't have a blind spot. You shouldn't be unknowing. Period. And so I think, like, what I was thinking was like, oh my God, you think you have a blind spot, but you don't. You had the epiphany kind of like, No, I really don't. I know I was told that something could happen if I don't put this system in.
Well, something could always
Always
happen.
happen. Even with the system.
Well, but that's to me like, is that a blind spot? No, it's not a blind spot. It's a blind spot in the sense of that's a spot that you're not looking at, but it's not a blind spot. It really is nowadays. You should have all the information and ability to see what's going on in those areas. So there should be no blind spots. There should be only blinders, meaning I'm intentionally putting this shit on to focus forward and
That's interesting. Yeah.
letting my humans do whatever, my employees, whatever, do the stuff that's in my blind spots, because God damn it, I shouldn't be doing that. I need to focus. And to be honest, they're in this lane, focusing on this lane. So they're scooping up everything you think you're missing, but you're not, because you got humans scooping that up on the side of you. Right. So to me, that was kind of the epiphany, was everybody looks at it as like blind spots, but it really shouldn't. We all know what's coming up. We've all been told the next president is going to be whatever, and this is what we're expecting on the forefront for, you know, whatever you want to call it, interest, and right, and the way that politics are going to run, and the way that we're going to see our businesses be run, and the way that taxes are going to be folded down, right? It really doesn't matter. It's how well you associate yourself.
Yeah, I see that.
And really take on your blinders. Are not, they're blinders. You're intentionally going forward.
Yeah, but I still think you don't know what you don't know.
Okay.
Which is a blind spot.
But if you know people that know what you don't know, you know what you don't know.
I understand what you're saying there too.
Fuck off. Yeah, you like that, don't you? Yeah. That was said so smooth.
It was. Yeah.
Record that one.
We got it.
Yeah.
It was.
Nailed it. All right. Let's fucking sign off.
So yeah. So let's
the
just.
F-words.
I'm just seeing. Let's set the hook for next week. What do we got going on next week? I'm looking here.
That's a great question.
So that's going to be 12-13 leveraging connections. Leveraging connections. Not networking, but leveraging connections. Next time on In the Know.
Let's also throw in the word negotiating.
Ooh, negotiating.
Right? That is leveraging connections, is negotiating.
Little air quotes, negotiating.
Quote unquote.
There we go. Hey, for all of us here at In the Know with Steph and Joe, 216 Creator
Love
Studios.
you, Mom.
Thank you for sitting in our blind spot for the last hour. And hopefully we look over our shoulder before we come into your lane next week. For all of us here,
I'm switching lanes hard.
have a great weekend.